Welcome on out to another episode of Cult Classics versus Comedians. We are recording here at Quick Wits Theater here in Midvale, Utah. And I am Jamie Maxfield, your host of the show, and I am joined by Eileen Dobbins.
Hi.
Bob Bedore.
Hello.
And Lamar Kellywood.
Hi.
And we are going to be discussing The Black Hole. The Black Hole was made in 1979, and it was actually, you can clearly tell that this was Disney's attempt at getting into the Star Wars money-making machine. But the film itself follows this crew that are just returning back to Earth from a long time in space, and they stumble upon another craft that everybody thought was lost. Turns out this particular spaceship was actually just out of the reach of a black hole. The crew land on the ship and to discover that actually all the crew members that they thought were dead on this large craft, turns out they were turned into some kind of zombie robots. And Zombots, as we like to refer to them. And then, you know, a series of malfunctions happen on the ship, a meteor storm, you know, the shit hits the fan, everybody's got to get out of there. And the main doctor, what was the main doctor's name? I can't even remember his name.
Good guy or bad guy?
The bad guy. He had a beard. That's who he was. He had a beard, and he was a mad scientist, and he wanted to fly the ship into the black hole, and he finally does it because he wants to, you know, go past the event horizon and yada, yada, yada. Anyway, the science in this movie is not what you need to pay attention to, specifically because Neil deGrasse Tyson said it was the most unscientific movie ever made in the history of science fiction movies. And so that's it right from there. Bob, what did you think about Black
This movie,
Hole?
I'm old enough that I saw it live in the theaters. And you're right, it really was pitched as this is Disney's attempt at doing, you know, Star Wars and getting in there. But what was weird was I remember as a kid, there was two things that bugged me really badly with this movie. And as I watched it again, they still bug me. The first is that you can communicate with the robots through ESP.
ESP, yes.
Which was just the most amazingly dumb thing ever. And it was only this one woman that could do it.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, contact them with your ESP.
Yeah.
Although for a woman with ESP, they have to explain a lot of things to her.
Yeah.
You notice that?
She's like looking at people. She can't even figure out what did they want to do. I don't understand.
Well, that's because she could only do ESP with robots.
Yeah.
It was a
Oh,
very
that's a
selective
problem.
ESP.
Yeah, and they built ESPN into the robots.
Yeah, I don't. That as a kid, I was always like, "What? That makes no sense at all." And the other was, the best scene in the whole movie, the most iconic scene, is that meteor tearing through the ship. I mean, that's
pretty great.
That's the amazing part of it. But after that, people are running around, you know, with no protection from space.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like, and they're still just walking around and still just breathing.
Yeah.
And then now, as I watch it as an adult, what really bothered me was this was Disney's attempt at Star Wars, but they didn't do anything grand like Star Wars. They didn't go anywhere. It was like we land on this planet and there's this great mat of a, you know, black hole spinning, but there was never anything in there. And the movie really only takes place in like 4 or 5 locations on the ship. I mean, they don't even do anything or go anywhere. And a lot of time spent with the robots. You know, the one robot, Max, the big villainous robot.
Maximilian.
Yeah, he's pretty cool, but
The ninja blender of robots. Yeah. It was like, that's your weapon? Like, really? Seriously? How about I'll just walk over here and shoot you with a laser? Like,
I just want to give a Bob.
I'll make it happen. But if you look at this was a Disney movie. This was so much darker than Star Wars or any other science fiction movie. I mean, you are having those little blenders go through somebody.
Yes.
And you're having people turned into robots, and you're having, you know, like even the robots are cannibalistic. You've got the one robot that's all bashed in and stuff like that, and it's like the other robots are almost making fun of him and kicking him around. And it was a weird.
Every time I see that robot, Bob was his name.
Yeah, that's how I
always want to put
him.
him. I always want to put him on a poster and say meth, not even once. Like
funny thing about
it looks like he's in a trash can.
yeah.
Funny thing about Bob though is the way he looks like that. The director didn't think he looked. He actually took a baseball bat
and beat him up even more.
Beat him up to have. You'll see the big dents all over him. The director thought he needed to be more
beat up.
Yeah, beat up. Anyway,
Why
weird
was he
movie.
voiced by Larry the Cable Guy?
That's what I don't
Right.
get. Like, oh, he's a trash pot, so we got to make him sound like a redneck. Like that's
Yeah.
where you go with.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Slim Pickens is who that
Slim
was.
Pickens?
Who
Oh,
was
dope. I
who
love
was
Slim
that
Pickens.
that's generation's
So funny.
Larry the Cable Guy. So what'd you think, Lamar?
I loved it. I've never seen it before, and it was pretty good. Yeah, I didn't understand all the Star Wars stuff until just now. Like
Yeah.
how they were trying to ride that wave, that sweet Star Wars wave. I love that it's kind of like an episode of Twilight Zone. Like it's kind of episodic. It's they arrive and then they kind of leave. They encounter like the bad guy, the doctor, who like had some really sweet hair. Like he had some pretty
Yeah.
rad hair.
Yeah.
I think that's what redeemed him for me. Like through the whole movie. It's
Very
like,
father
yeah.
figure. Like
Yeah, his
it.
hair is pretty rad.
He had a full head of hair, which you have to respect.
Yeah.
Did.
I just love all this space stuff. I like jumpsuits. I love like robots that have like acronym names.
Yeah.
Like Vincent.
Yeah, and Bob was
Yeah.
what was it, bio sanitation something battalion? They have a battalion
I love
of
it when
these
I love when they have to
turbots.
shoehorn like extra stuff in to make the acronym a name.
Yeah.
Just so they can call them like so it's not like
Vincent is
So
the
it's not
worst.
Basab?
so it's not like like Fred 3000 or something that
Yeah.
they think's like more like less lame, I guess.
So bad. Eileen, what'd you think?
I enjoyed it. There were a couple of things that stood out to me. First of all, I thought the villain looked a lot like a younger version of the Dos Equis guy. The most
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He was the most
Whoa.
interesting villain.
I was like, the most interesting
She had a
villain in
beard.
the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
With the beard and everything.
Yeah.
So there's a sponsorship opportunity there.
Wasn't he going to space? Is something? No,
Yeah,
I'm just
probably.
kidding.
This is
Isn't he
the
going to
early
space?
years
Yeah.
of the
yeah.
Dos Equis guy.
Yeah, yeah.
It all
Oh,
made
as he gets
sense.
close to,
Something.
it's full circle because
Yeah,
he gets
yeah.
close to the black hole. He decreases in age.
Yes.
Oh,
Whoa.
Man.
It's
pretty
nice
rad,
to
far
see
out.
the humble beginnings of Daft Punk.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the costumes were amazing.
Yeah.
Costumes are
Just
great.
Really good. Those helmets.
Yes.
I loved all the robots. I did think it was funny that Bob was such a hick.
Yeah. It's like
Why would you choose that voice if you were a scientist making a space robot?
you're just like
Yeah, yeah.
I miss home and I want
And your
I
personality
want my
is-
cousin Bob to be here.
But to be fair, at first I thought this is gonna get old fast. Bob was my favorite character.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bob is
Bob-
by far the best character in the show.
Has
Easily.
anyone named Bob should be.
Yes, has
in
anyone-
any particular
Yeah.
series you might be watching, Bob should always be your favorite.
I loved the black hole sequence when they
Yeah.
kind of go in there and it gets a little trippy.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a lot like Bond opening credits,
Oh,
minus
uh-huh.
like naked
Oh,
women
dope.
silhouettes,
Mhm.
but all of the transitions between shots and the colors,
Yeah.
and it was just very interesting. Like I could watch YouTube clips of that over and over.
Just on a
and
loop.
Probably will later today.
Yeah.
But what about the very end though, when it's like hell? Because now
Oh,
Yeah.
the
right.
doctor who we can't remember fuses with Maximilian
Yeah.
somehow in
Somehow.
space.
That's right.
Yeah.
No one ever, and then it's like this big hell scene of him on the mountain and the Zombots leading another, you
Yeah.
know, in the fiery pits of hell. That where did that come from? But anyway,
It's
great
true.
stuff.
I love this movie as a kid, right? Because it was just visually stunning. I love the design of the ship. I love, even though the robots at the time, now you look back and you go, those are lame ass robots. When I was a kid, I'm like, these are so like stormtroopers.
Yeah, yeah.
These are stormtroopers,
Yeah, yeah.
right? With dual blasters?
pretty
Are you
great.
kidding
No,
me?
I
Dual
love them.
blasters?
And not only
What?
that, but they get together for just shooting parties for
Yeah.
no, for no
That was
reason at
pretty
all.
dope.
No, and then the one
Show your
Vincent
skills.
kills the other
But
one.
isn't that great that Vincent's supposed to be the good guy and just goes like, oh look out, ping, ping,
Yeah,
boom,
and
boom,
he
and just
does
kills
it on
the-
purpose.
Kills the one robot, goes and floats away.
Bob, you think? What do you think?
I recommend it.
or-
I would say watch it, but watch it for what could have been. I really think that's the cool thing. There were some great ideas thrown into this, but watch for what could have been. This could have been an amazing story.
Yeah. Eileen, yourself?
I enjoyed it. I'd recommend it. If there isn't already a porn parody, they have a name.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
So-
Yep.
That makes it easy. Yeah, I'd say watch it. It's great effects. Better than Star Wars, actually, on the effects in a lot of ways.
Yep.
And R2D2 floats in this one.
Yes.
So,
Totally.
Which
So
is
does
great.
Bob.
So does
It's
Bob.
true.
Don't leave out
Bobs.
poor Bob.
yeah.
Poor Bob.
Yeah.
Lamar, how about you?
Oh yeah, I recommend it. It's pretty great. I didn't even know that this movie was out there.
Yeah.
It's like it's nice to find something like sci-fi that Disney tried, and I guess no one really cared to like talk about it or tell me about it. But I'm glad that I watched it.
There's probably reasons.
It's
We
pretty
forgot
good.
to tell Lamar about our movie.
It's pretty great. I love the special effects, and I like the story, and like I like all the characters. It's pretty good. I would watch it again.
Yeah, good,
Yeah.
good. Yep. So, hey, I want to thank everybody for joining us for this episode of Cult Classics versus Comedians. Don't forget, we are recording here at Quick Wits Theater here in Midvale, Utah, which you can actually see weekly showings with Mr. Bob Bedore and his improv group. Folks, how can people follow Bob?
You can. No reason to follow me, but you can at Bob Bedore 3000
There you
on
go.
Twitter. But check out QuickWits, qwcomedy.com, and come see a show.
And Lamar, how about you? How can people find you?
I'm just at Lamar Kellywood on Twitter and Instagram.
Sweet. And Eileen?
Eileen Dobbins on Facebook or Eileen is a jerk on Twitter.
Yep. And then, of course, my name's Jamie Maxfield. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm on Facebook as well. And then don't forget to follow Cult Classics versus Comedians on Facebook. You can get all the updates on what we're doing, new episodes that are coming out. And then you can also follow, if you love film, we do Mr. Ben Fuller, producer of this show, and I produce a show called Channel 801. You can follow us on Facebook as well in regards to that and see a monthly showcase of film. And so with that, guys, I want to thank you guys for being on this episode.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.